Now I know others have covered this and very well, but I intend to give it a critical attention that may not as yet have been given. And just to change things up, I will be trifling with tradition by not only allowing the subject to handle the summary with my assessment, of course, but by swapping the usual order, video analysis first, summary after, for the reverse. Non-binary, who identifies as he. Transgender, who is not transitioning. Asexual, who identifies as trans and queer. Aromantic, who concerns themselves with issues of relationships. Queer, my favorite one, the proverbial icing on the cake. So put that all together and you get, that is queer as in I am a guy who is a girl unless I change my mind, who wants to be with other guys, but not for sex or a relationship. Right? I have two ideas that would make your life easier. 1. Admit and accept that you are heterosexual and apologize to the world. 2. Here's an idea to help you on the dating site you will inevitably turn to after all your local fish have run away in abject horror. Read, are committed to the local asylum after you've skull-fucked them with your narcissistic labels. Now on to the video analysis.
Hello, lovely people. Okay, so you reach the point where you acknowledge that trans people are people, and thus deserve basic human respects.
Sorry, I didn't have to reach any point, since I was already at the point of all people are people. How about you? Are you going to reach that point of respect?
Congratulations! Now you're ready to learn how you can better support trans people as a marginalized community.
How condescending. You mean support by bowing to your demands and marginalized because your demands haven't been met?
Most of these tips could apply to supporting any marginalized community, but this video specifically addresses how to be a better ally to trans people.
Read, here is my personal list of demands, which I will claim is the unanimously held positions of all people whom I identify with.
First of all, being an ally is an uncomfortable position. Are you uncomfortable yet? How about now? You uncomfortable yet? You uncomfortable? You uncomfortable?
Demand number 1. No one is allowed to be comfortable until everyone is uncomfortable. Makes perfect sense.
In order to benefit the trans community, you must be active in your support. This means standing up for trans rights whenever it's safe for you to do so, and always deconstructing your learned biases.
The following examples of learned bias that you give are quite excellent. I might also point out, among other things, there are fallacies of composition.
All cisgender people are transphobic, just as all men hold misogynistic views, and all white people are racist.
As I said, excellent examples of learned bias. I couldn't have done better.
I've known that I'm trans for 5 years.
Wonderful. I have been looking for the right platform to discuss this very topic. But first, what happened 5 years ago to help you acknowledge this? Were you diagnosed with gender dysphoria, or did you simply wake up in a surgical theater? The reason I ask is trans stands for transitioning. Being a trans is not a feeling or a gender. It is an action. You couldn't wake up one day feeling trans any more than I could do so feeling neurotypical. So are you really transitioning? An action? Or do you just feel it? Because the third option that deals with those feelings is attention whoring, and your feminine body language and sense of decor are screaming loud enough that even I can see the truth.
and I still sometimes struggle with internalized transphobia.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
You do realize the opposite of transphobia isn't acceptance. It's transphilia, the preference and desire for transitioning and action. In this case, changing one gender for another. What am I saying? Of course you do. All of us being sneetches is the unwritten demand all other demands are based on.
Thoughts that maybe I am a freak, and what if cis gay people never find me attractive?
Yes, those males who prefer a lack of breasts and vaginas. Good luck with that, Miss Heterosexual. Oh, and self-doubt? Not a phobia.
If I've not been able to overcome my internalized transphobia in the 17 years that I've been living as a trans person, then I'm pretty sure you probably have some transphobic biases as well.
Can you hear it? Now that's projection.
If you tell me that as a cisgender person, you are not transphobic, you are telling me not to trust you.
Touché. Because as a neurotypical person, if you are telling me you are not an ableist, you're telling me not to trust you. Not everyone. You specifically.
By telling me that you are not transphobic, you're telling me that you are unaware or choose to live in the dark about the way that we are socialized in a Western society.
And by telling me that you are not ableist, you're telling me that you choose to be in the dark about how society is socialized, period.
And most disturbingly, by telling me that you're not transphobic, you're telling me that you think you know everything there is to know about being trans.
And most disturbingly, by telling me you're not an ableist, you're telling me you think you know everything about being less able.
And that you think your allyship cannot be improved.
And you think your social bias cannot be improved. You see, two can play this game.
Psst, you're also probably not going to improve your allyship until you acknowledge that you're transphobic.
Yes, we're all sinners who can only be saved if we confess our sins. There's a whole book or three full of that shit. You're late to the revival.
Secondly, one of the most important things you can do as an ally to trans people is to listen to the voices of trans people.
Why? Do the voices of trans people sound different than the voices of other people? Are they especially melodic? Are they E.F. Hutton or something?
Well, my broker is E.F. Hutton, and E.F. Hutton says, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
And listen to a variety of voices and not just those who agree with you.
So my response won't be a problem for you. Excellent. Don't worry, I won't forget that you said that.
The marginalization of the transgender community continues because transgender voices are not being heard.
So it's not like you're being given electroshock therapy, dying from 200-pound teachers sitting on you, or being force-fed bleach. I see. Maybe they should stop mumbling all the buzzwords.
The transgender community is incredibly diverse, and you can learn a crap ton by listening to the voices of trans people.
Oh? I'm listening to a claimant now, and I haven't yet learned anything of substance.
One of the best things you can do as an ally is to learn as much as you can and take what you've learned into other communities.
Read. Discuss sexual matters in any space, whether appropriate or not.
Your voice is often given more respect since you are not a part of the community.
There's at least one of these in every video response.
Citation needed.
In the words of Linda Martin, speak with intent to listen, not to speak.
In other words, shut up, peasants. We have contradictions.
Lastly, watch out for those macroaggressions.
Yes, because advocacy is nothing without constantly offended participants.
Microaggressions are soft versions of transphobia, where you may have no malintent, but your actions still work to further the marginalization of trans people.
We're all sinners, 3 books, you're still late, et al.
And that means watch out for your stereotypes and cisnormativity.
See? There's that masculine body language I was talking about.
Trans people are erased by language that associates gender with a certain set of genitalia.
Language is incapable of erasing people. Time for a new narrative.
No, you're not gay because you like penis. You're gay because you like men. But you may happen to really like penis.
Non-point. Try harder.
Also remember that there are narratives of trans people that you have probably never heard of before. Just because you've never heard it before doesn't mean that it's any less valid.
Unless the narrative deals with a physical transition or gender dysphoria diagnosis, in some tangible way, it's probably not a valid trans narrative.
Don't act like you're Hagrid saving some kids from their misery by telling them that they're not actually trans.
Would you settle for me acting like Merriam-Webster?
At the end of the day, trans people really aren't that different from cis people.
Thanks for making my point. Now get off the bandwagon.